Namaste, Yogins. How is everybody this evening? Glad to see everybody. We are going to start standing this evening, so I'm going to read our waiver. Just make sure if you're going to use your props that they're going to be accessible to you from any point on the mat. In order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you have moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you are participating in a yoga class or a class that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. Women Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical exam and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. So for the summer, we are moving through some of the philosophical aspects of yoga. And tonight we are going to move through the concept of prana. And we talk about prana a lot as breath in our practice, but as we step into the philosophical space, we know that when we speak about prana in a philosophical way, it talks about the subtle energies in our body, of which breath is one. So that is the space that we're going to explore. As always, I want to remind you, we're going to practice our yamas, be in a space of ahimsa, which is nonviolence to ourselves or non-harm. Satya, truthfulness for where we need to be. And Asteya tonight, we're going to add in some generosity to ourselves as we move through practice. So as you settle into your mountain pose, just start that grounding of the feet, maybe rocking up onto the toes and the heels. Find the outer edges. Take a little bend in the knees. Notice the upper legs. Notice the hips. Bring everything to neutral. Start to engage the core. That feeling of the navel lifting up towards the rib cage. Bring the chin to neutral. Relax the shoulders. And then allow the hands to just kind of fall where they would like to be. Start to notice as you breathe in and out the natural rhythm of the breath. Maybe noticing or imagining the energy as it comes up and down. In this concept of prana, we know that energy moves in different ways, whether it be up and down, right to left, or around us. And then take a moment here to start to deepen the breath. And as you deepen the breath, try to make it just the same effort, but draw the breath down lower into the lungs. Maybe expanding the rib cage, maybe taking the hands and just placing them along the rib cage to feel that expansion. Allowing just the energy of the breath to move the body a little bit more. When you're ready, draw in as much breath as you possibly can, filling the lungs, almost feeling that tickling in the back of the throat. And then pause And sip in one more sip of air, expanding the ribs just a little bit more. And then pausing in breathless for just a moment, just noticing the energy that's going on within the body as the breath is in pause. And then as you're ready, begin a nice long exhale, releasing the breath. When you get to the bottom of that exhale, just draw the navel back just slightly and notice you get that last little puff of air. Returning the hands down along the side of the body, then just find a rhythm of breath that feels right for you today. There's no right or wrong to this. And then as we move into practice today, we're going to kind of mix it up a little bit today. We're going to do our more young portion of the practice first, and then in the second half of the class, settle into the yin poses. And our purpose here is to draw some awareness to the energy that's created in the yin, or I'm sorry, in the yang, and then allowing us to find that soothing, calming space in the yin. So as you've settled and found your breath, let's do a little exploration while we're standing and find out what's going on in the body today. Just looking at the energy places. And as we move through this portion of practice, we're going to focus on our joints and just noticing what the joints are telling you. If you're able to feel the movement of energy between joints, awesome. If you're not, that's okay too. Just notice the spaces that feel open and the spaces that don't. So on an inhale, you're going to lift the arms up and overhead. Take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale, draw the arms back down, but you're only coming to shoulder height. You're going to turn the palms towards the front. And you're going to inhale and draw the palms together. Get a little rounding in the back, a little bending at the knees. Exhale, pull the palms back out. We're going to do this 3 to 5 times at your pace, moving as slowly or as quickly as you would like. But you want to have that awareness of your breath and your joint movement. After your next round, you're going to draw the hands into heart center. Let the hands come along the side of the body. And just pause for a moment and notice where you feel the vibration. Then from here, you're just going to take the right ear and draw it to the right shoulder. Back to neutral, left ear to left shoulder. Back to neutral. Go 2 more times at your pace, maybe pausing for a second or 2 if you need to. Noticing what's going on here. When you finished your rounds, coming back to center, and then just tucking the chin. And inhaling, lifting the chin up. As you're moving through this space, think about lengthening both sides of the body equally. If you've spent a lot of time on your computer today or sitting and reading, it may feel really good to tuck the chin and lengthen the back, pushing through the heels a little more. Making your way back to neutral. You're going to bring the arms back up to shoulder height here. Palms are facing up towards the ceiling this time. And you're just going to do some tiny, tiny little circles forward. And then some tiny circles backwards. And then pausing in stillness, you're going to bring the hands to the shoulders. From here, you're going to draw the elbows in to meet each other, maybe tucking the chin. Come on back. Making sure that you're still feeling that grounding in your feet as you inhale, as if you are drawing the breath up from the ground. Nice micro bend in the knees, nice length in the spine, engaged core. Pausing back at this kind of modified T here. We're going to start to do a little twisting action. So as you twist the upper part of the body towards the left, the hips are going to move to the right. You're doing this little opposite action here. Take your time, but if it feels right to start to pick the pace up, go ahead and go there. Being as gentle as you need to. The next time you come back to neutral, just pause and just let the hands come down along the side. Then from this space, we'll just roll the shoulders back once and then forwards once. Bigger circles this time. One more time backwards. One more time forwards. What is the upper back telling you? And then pause and center. Then from here, taking the hands and putting them in your hip creases here. And then with a nice long spine, just start to bend the knees. You're just coming forward to the spot that you start to feel the back side of the body. If you reach that 50%, you're just going to pause here. Take the gaze down towards the floor, lengthen the spine, engage the core, and come on back up. You'll do that 2 more times. Nice bend in the knees as you come forward. Nice long spine. As you have that feeling for the hip creases, if it feels right to take the hands and place them along the sacrum, you're welcome to do that also. Then making your way back to neutral, releasing the hands from wherever they are. Then from this space, drawing awareness into the right side of the body, you're going to make sure that right foot is nice and grounded. And then taking the left leg, you're going to bend at the knee as if you were drawing that heel towards your glutes. You're going to do this 3 times, finding your balance. And then on the 4th time, you're going to lift up and roll the heel to the right, and then to the left. And then bring the foot back down to the floor. Drawing awareness into the left side, finding that grounding and balance on the left side. We're going to do the same thing on the right. So when you're ready, bending that right knee and drawing that heel back. A little calf engagement, lifting the body along with it. And then on that 3rd time, pausing, coming back up and rolling the ankle. Bringing both feet to the floor. You're going to lift up all 10 toes. Take the gaze down towards your feet. See how far you can spread the toes and then draw the toes down one at a time. And then lifting them back up one at a time. Allow them all to come down to just neutral. From here, with that beautiful grounding that you have, you're going to bring the hands to heart center. And then drawing awareness into the grounding of both feet. You're just going to lift the left foot up and just take a natural step back, keeping the hips pointing forward. Almost a modification on a warrior 1 here. Grounding into both feet and then stepping forward. Moving through this 3 times at your pace, keeping your stability and your beautiful length. Pausing back at center. Then moving to the other side, up onto the toes of the right foot, natural step back. And then just 3 times, back and forth. Pausing back at center. You're gonna make fists with the hands now. Make sure your thumbs are kind of pointed back towards you like you're thumbing to yourself. And then from this space, keeping the elbows hugged into start, you're gonna step back with the left foot and push forward with the right hand, thumb pointed up. Bring everything back to center, and then you're gonna move to the other side. You're gonna do this 2 more rounds. Noticing the placement of the feet. Noticing where your arms end up. Then bringing hands to heart center. Releasing the hands down to the side. Then from here, you're going to start making just some fists with the hands. Big wide fingers closing along the side. As fast as you can. And then bringing them out in front. And then bringing them overhead. Keep making those fists. And then bringing them down to shoulder height. Back down along the body and just let them go. Taking a moment to notice the vibration. Then just noticing now. Last step and place we're going to go is literally a step. So you're going to start lifting the legs up and down. And you'll notice the flexion in the foot. Hopefully you can hear it's a little louder. Hope nobody's on the 2nd or 3rd floor. Just let the foot kind of fall, creating a vibration that goes up and through the body. If you're able to keep the hips nice and stable and pick the pace up, you're welcome to. Remember, we want to keep the knees not coming any higher than the hips. And if you want to make it a little bit of almost rebounding or a jog, you can. Keep the knees up. If this is too much for your joints, just come back to walking. Got a few more rounds here. Wherever you're at, start to slow it down. Pause in stillness. Notice the vibrations, the sensations, the subtle energies, the prana moving throughout the body. See if you can notice it from head to toe, front and back, right and left. And then making your way to the top of the mat, setting up your mountain. On an inhale, lift the arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan dive it forward. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, release. Placing both hands on the mat, you're going to step back to a plank. And we're going to do some core work here. So from here, in your plank, you're just going to lift the left foot up off the floor 1 inch. Bring it back down. Right foot, 1 inch. Back down. Left and right. Just moving as if you were walking, keeping that core engaged. Couple more rounds. Then pause and find downward dog. So our first downward dog of practice. So we've taken some time to assess where the body's at. So just make adjustments where needed. Allow yourself the time to walk your dog, stretching the back side of the body. And then pausing in stillness. Lowering the knees to the mat. Setting up your tabletop. As you set your tabletop up, let yourself draw awareness first to the hands. Spread the fingers really wide. And then bring the weight of the hands into the space underneath the four joints. Then press the tops of your feet into the floor. As we've drawn this awareness along all areas of the body, find that beautiful movement of energy that's nice and even for you. So that core engaged. Imagine as if you were still breathing, drawing the breath through the feet, going up the body, relaxing and soothing the spaces that need it, lengthening the spine, aligning all the joints. If you're comfortable with closing the eyes here, go ahead and go there. And just make subtle adjustments as you turn your awareness inwards, listening to the energy of the body, the prana. Honoring and being gentle and kind to yourself, noticing how active a tabletop can be. And then as you are ready, keeping the activity within the arms and the hands, start to lower the navel down towards the floor and take the gaze up. Allow yourself to find that opening of the heart space here. And then start to tuck the chin around the back. Maybe even rounding so far as to get the tailbone to start to tuck. And then starting to move with your breath, finding your cow and cat. Add in any other organic movement that you might need, whether it be rocking side to side. Might be some circles with the hips. It might be a little forwards and back. It might even be a little flipping of the palms. But find what you need right now. As we start to prepare to transition into the yin portion, finding stillness and holding poses a little longer, allowing ourselves the ability to explore where the energy is in the longer hold. So as you're ready, make your way back to your tabletop, and you're going to draw your big toes together. You're going to let the knees come a little wider as you sink your hips towards your heels. And we're going to find a child's pose here, but we're going to have our arms out in front if that's available to you. And you might want to have your hands a little wider than you might normally do, especially if your shoulders are feeling tight. They could be even off the mat if that feels right for you. And I want us to think while we're here, start to notice that energy again, that sensation, that moving. From the fingertips all the way through the arm, into the back, relaxing the 220 muscles along the back side of the body. And as they make their way to the pelvis, bringing the pelvis really into a neutral space. The abs no longer need to be engaged. Allow the sacrum to just open up. Maybe the glutes move a little closer to the heels. And then notice the energy on the lower half of the body. The restriction that we created in the knees. What can you do to find any comfort there? And then noticing what we're asking the ankles to do here. Big opening of the ankles. See if you can even draw awareness into the toes, maybe spreading the toes nice and wide again. And then allow yourself the opportunity to move back up the body. Where can you find some peace? And can you send that peace through the rest of the body? Finding that space, that sattva, that balance. How can your breath help you here? Allow the breath to shift and move. Give it permission to go where it needs to go. And then as you're ready, for our last bit of time here, we're just going to shift the hands. So you're just going to start to draw the hands along the mat, along the side of the body. And when you get to a space where you can turn them over, palms facing up towards the ceiling, and just notice how this shifts and changes. See if you can spread those fingers nice and wide. Keeping the back of the hand either on the mat or the floor, whichever feels right. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the neck. But as the spine lengthens, giving yourself permission to lift the forehead or third eye up and draw it a little deeper onto the mat. Then on your next inhale, just draw the palms along the side of the body till they get to a place where you're ready to put them underneath your shoulder heads, palms back down. Press up as nice and slow as you can and reach the hands out in front. You're going pretty wide here. Then from here, you're just going to draw the hips forward and then bring them back. And just a couple times here with your breath, just hips forward. You could rest them on the mat if that feels good. And then back towards the heels again. Couple more rounds here. And then from this space, you're going to make the hands walk back to a more traditional tabletop. And then you're gonna draw the right knee up towards the right hand. We're gonna come into a pigeon or a sleeping swan here. So here's where your props may be helpful. You may wanna place something underneath that right hip. Always the gentle reminder, if this is too intense on your knees, you can flip onto your back and do the figure 4 here. You're gonna start out just nice and long to start. And then when it feels right for you, you're gonna start to walk the hands out in front, maybe come down onto the elbows, maybe again, reach the arms out in front as you start to draw the third eye down to the mat. You can use your blanket if you want to rest your head here. Notice how this little shift and change in position. Notice the spaces that are speaking to you. Notice those spaces first that feel really awesome, that are a little bit more quiet. And then the ones that need a little bit more attention, a little opening. See if you can shift that energy, that prana, from the open space into the space that needs a little more attention. As you start to settle in and get deeper, if it feels right to release the prop, go ahead and go there. Just make sure you're keeping your hips nice and even. Got about 1 more minute here. You want to lengthen that left leg a little bit more. Just come up onto the toes, lengthen it, and bring it back down. Think about that left big toe pointing towards the end of the mat. And as you're ready, we're going to start to make our way out of the posture. So you're going to bring the hands back so that they are underneath the shoulder pads. And we're going to make our way back to tabletop here. You can take a cat and a cow if you want. You can also, if you want, reach the hands out in front a little wider and come into that nice double hip release in the front. Listen to what your body's telling you that you need here and let yourself go there. You all know we're going to the other side. So as you're ready, you're going to come to the left side. Remember, you have the option for the figure 4 on your back. If you get here and this knee does not like it, take some time to get yourself set up, putting a prop underneath if you would like. Sometimes the prop just gives you that availability to get everything all lined up. Once you get it there, sometimes you can just let it go and everything is good. Then as you're ready, just coming forward, reaching the arms out in front if that's available to you. Drawing the third eye down to the mat. Think about that energy moving through the body. Those energy centers up and down the spine. The energy centers in each of our joints. Find that rhythm of breath that lets you find the peace in this posture. Noticing the differences between your right and your left side, but notice them in that space of curiosity and not judgment. So in the last minute here, what can you do to soften the spaces that need softening? If it worked for you on the other side to find the space that feels really open and just send that energy into that space, do that. Then as you're ready, I'm going to begin the transition moving nice and slow. So if you're extended long, you're going to come up onto the hands first, and then finding that tabletop. Taking a cat and a cow here. And then as you're ready, we're going to make our way to standing. So you have several options here. If you feel like you'd like to come to a down dog, you're welcome to do that. You can also just walk the hands back, roll onto the feet, and just come up with a nice flat back. Coming back to your mountain, we're going to all be at the back of our mat here. And just pausing for a moment in mountain. Just noticing the shifts, the changes within. And then as we get ready to move into our next posture, know that as we come into, we're going to come into dangling a forward fold. But know if that becomes too much for you, or if you feel like there's too much blood rushing to your head, you can come to seated with your legs long and do the same thing. So we're going to draw that awareness into the hip creases to start. And because we're doing this yin style, we're going to make sure we've got a nice generous bend in the knees, so that we start to draw the abs towards the quads. So know that where I am here now with my hands on my quads is probably bus stop 1. Just make sure you're keeping the spine nice and long by lengthening the spine. Chin stays neutral throughout the whole thing. Think about the spine as this big long extension into the head. And then as you're ready, if it feels like you want to start to come a little bit more, you can. But I want us to keep this generous bend in the knees as we draw the abs and the quads on, the abs and the chest onto the quads. You'll notice my hands just kind of release down. I'm holding on to my ankles here. You can, if you want, give your feet a nice massage while you're here. Making a fist, just kind of letting the knuckles go in between all the bones on the feet. It sometimes feels really good. Then as you're ready, if it feels right to start to lengthen the legs, keeping that micro bend in the knees, keeping the shoulders relaxed, arms relaxed. Abs and chest are still on the quads. If you've spent the whole day seated, this may feel really good. Take the opportunity here to shake the head. Yes and no. If the hands are reaching to the floor, take the opportunity to lift all 10 toes up and bring them back down. As we're in our final minute here, if it feels right to deepen the posture just a little more, go ahead and go there. And then wherever you're at, if the hands are on the floor in the deepest expression, start to bring them to the feet. Start to walk the hands up the body, bringing them back to those quads. Start to take the long spine back up. Keep that bend in the knees and find your mountain. Taking an inhale, reaching up, bring the palms together and push the hips forward a little bit. Find a little back bend to counter. Squeeze the glutes if that feels good. Come back to neutral. Bring the hands to heart center to find Samasthiti. Mountain pose, hands at heart center. Check in with the breath. Check in with the vibrations. And then on an exhale, you're just going to hinge forward here. Nice bend in the knees. We're bringing the hands down to the mat. We're going to walk the hands out, bring the knees down, and we're going to come to that tabletop. We're going to bump the hips out right and then left. You can take cat and cow in between or just stay in this. And then from this space, we're gonna make our way to seated. So you can swing the legs to either the right or the left or across at the ankles. You're gonna bring your feet to the top of the mat so that you can recline down onto the mat. Keeping any props that you might need available. So as we're gonna come into a couple twists here, you'll have them available to you. As you're ready to recline, you can make it as much or as little work as you want. Keep a nice micro bend in the knees. You can go really slow if you want to challenge your abs, pausing where you want. We're going to take the opportunity, once you get down onto the mat, to just let everything release onto the mat. Just letting the hands come wide like an A. Chin nice and neutral. And then from here, you're gonna take your hands and you're just gonna bring them up to your scalp, and you are gonna give yourself a nice head massage. Move the hands all around. It feels good to bring the massage down onto the face. Go ahead and go there. Make sure you get around your jaw. We hold a lot of tension there. Open and close the mouth. And then when you're finished, just letting the hands come to the abdomen. And you just note the breath coming up and down. And just noticing the vibrations that you created up in the head. Then drawing the feet to the floor, knees facing up. We're going to draw the knees together so the feet will want to just naturally come out a little wider than hip width distance. You'll notice your pelvis and low back really just relax down onto the mat. Just pausing here for a moment. And then on an inhale, you're just going to let the knees drift over towards the right side. So you're rolling onto the outer and inner edge of the foot, keeping the feet nice and wide. Remembering your props, you may want to tuck a prop underneath a leg or two. As you settle in here, keeping the shoulders on your mat, gaze up at the ceiling, then decide where your arms want to go naturally here to keep that space. It might be a T, it might be cactus, it might be one side a T and one side a cactus. Then once you've settled, let your chin make a decision where it wants to go. Does it want to go over the opposite shoulder? Only if it feels super yummy. As you tune in and listen to the vibrations, as we settle in here, allowing yourself the time to just notice what spaces are open, energy moving freely. What spaces are feeling as if there's an energy block, a little tight or taut? As you move the body into this twist, how did it change the relationship with the breath? Are you able to still keep that breath? As you're ready, bringing the gaze back to neutral. Inhaling, bringing the knees back up to the ceiling. Let the knees come together. Make any shifts or adjustments that you need to. Pause for a moment here in center before you move towards the right side. Letting the knees drift. Letting them find the place that's right for them on this side with or without props. Legs wide, protecting the back. Shoulders on the mat. And then deciding where the arms want to go on this side. Taking a few breaths here. And then letting the gaze come over the opposite shoulder if it feels right. It should feel like a yummy dessert. Start to notice what's different on this side. And in that space of total curiosity, as you're ready, begin to take the gaze back up to neutral if you turn the head. And then on an inhale, you're going to bring the knees back up. Let the knees come together one more time. And then heel toe the feet in so that they're underneath the knees. And then hug the knees into the chest. From here, rotate the ankles just a little bit, rock side to side. And if your body's craving it and you have no neck or back issues, you're welcome to come up into that little yoga ball or egg, drawing the forehead towards the knees. As you're ready, releasing the legs, bring the feet to the floor. And allow yourself to find your shape for Shavasana. If it's legs extended long today, if it feels like you would like a little bit more of hip opening, maybe adding in a Baddha Konasana or butterfly legs. But let yourself take this time now to go to the space that you can find deep relaxation. You honored your body today. You honored your mind in your practice, your physical practice, as well as your spiritual practice, honoring your ahimsa, your satya, and your asteya. We'll close practice tonight in Shavasana, allowing you the opportunity to take some more time if you need it. I thank you all for the privilege of guiding you through practice this evening. May you all be safe from any harm. May you be strong and vital. May you truly be at peace. And may you and everyone you love prosper. May you be happy. May you be healthy, safe, and always at ease. From my heart to your hearts. Namo Namaha. Namaste.